We're calling the law enforcement
Yeah.
agency. Call them
Good to
back.
go. We good? All right. Would everybody please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Oh, we've got a full house tonight. Everybody find a seat back there? You know, your tickets? So we're going to start off this evening. We have a couple things on the agenda, but we're going to start off with a public hearing. We have an application for a new liquor license for Lucky Fortune in Damariscotta. I think we have a representative of Lucky Fortune here. It's up to you if you've got anything you want to say. I'm not going to call you out if you don't have anything to add. You good? Yeah. Yeah. And you guys are all here to talk about his liquor license, right? Any public comment, questions, anything? Hearing none? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing for Lucky Fortune's liquor license. With that, I will open the Damariscotta Select Board meeting of Wednesday, February 21st. Couple housekeeping things real quick. We have Andrea coming in on, I see her on Zoom over there, another board member. And you might see Tom skitter out of here in 20 minutes or so. So he's got to head out to something else. If it pleases the board, we do have a good agenda here, but I'd like to move a couple things around. We have some folks waiting for liquor license renewals and whatnot. Is everybody all right moving those up in the agenda? Yep. We're good. Okay. So if we look at official action items, under 5, we have the new license application for Lucky Fortune.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license application for Lucky Fortune.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Do I have a second?
Second. Okay.
Uh-oh, who
You
fought?
got it.
No fighting over there.
Got it.
Okay. Dan's taking that one.
He's closer.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Yeah, yep. Andrew's on top too, so we're good. Yep. So that's it. It was painless. Yeah. So Andy will get together. Was it, does he know when to?
Yep.
You've already
As long as our clerk's in tomorrow, everyone should be able to pick these up tomorrow by the end of the day.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. All right. We have a renewal for the penalty box 2.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license renewal for penalty box 2.
All right. Put that one, Tom. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? All right. And Andrea as well. That's 5 of us. All right. Good enough. And we also have under the penalty box 2, we have a entertainment special amusement permit as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the entertainment special amusement permit for penalty box 2.
All right. I'll second that one. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? All right. And Andrea? Yep. And we have Reunion Station here tonight for a liquor license renewal.
I'll make a motion to approve liquor license renewal for Reunion Station.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Tom, do you? Yep. Tom seconds that one. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? All right. Andrew as well. So there. You guys are more than welcome to hang out, but because some of you are working, so.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Have a good evening. So before we move into the minutes and whatnot, I think we might have something brewing back here that we want to, maybe a special presentation of some sort. We overheard.
So Jason has reached out to some colleagues in the rest of the police department. Been working for almost a couple of years probably on this accreditation process. Something the board's just heard a little bit about over the last year or so. There was a grant that I know Jason had come forward with, if you complete the accreditation process. So we've heard a little bit about the money part of it. But the effort that's gone in to get all the policies updated, among many other things, has all been a long time coming. And so working with Jason, if you want to come up and share anything about that process if you want, but there's a presentation from the folks that do the accrediting. And so with that, we'll ask them to come up and
Yeah, come on up. We have the mic set up here. If you
Sure.
want to come on up and.
Can I stand or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, as long as you can hear all right and everything.
Yeah, just move the mic a little bit.
Yep. Just.
Good evening. My name is Sean O'Leary and I'm here to represent the Maine Chiefs of Police Association. I want to go into a little background about what the Damariscotta Police Department has gone through and what the state accreditation program is. Well, back in 2017, a group of law enforcement executives came together from the Maine Chiefs Association, the Maine Sheriff's Association, and the Department of Public Safety, thinking that Maine does it the right way, but we need to prove and show to the community that Maine law enforcement is transparent and very professional. So they developed a series of standards and guidelines to be accredited. Now, it's something different between CALIA, which is a national accreditation program. The problem with CALIA, which is a really great organization, it does not fit small departments like Damariscotta because they just can't meet the standards. And as we know, Maine has a lot of small police departments. So they took the initiative and developed best practice standards that are not only national standards, but also the way that Maine law enforcement does the law enforcement. So after several years, they developed the Maine Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. Now, what the Maine accreditation program is, it's 12 chapters, it's 167 standards. And unlike other accreditation bodies, you have to meet every single standard if it pertains to you. So some of the chapters are code and conduct, professionalism, use of force, training, personnel, police operations. So what we did was, through the help of his entire staff, he developed his policies to meet the best standards in the nation and in the state of Maine. And then he had to make sure that those policies were being followed by his staff. Then after he felt that those were all done and he had met all the standards, he had an outside entity coming in that did not work in this area. It's like me coming into your house and checking your books and making sure your bed is made and your house is intact, and they're all like that. So two professional executives, one was a sheriff from Knox and another one was a police chief in Thompson. They come in and reviewed everything. A majority of the standards is they did it electronically, but then we had an on-site assessment where they could walk anywhere where they wanted within the police department and really to see if they're meeting the standards. This is not an easy process. At this point right now, there's roughly about 130 law enforcement departments in the state. That's including state, municipal, and county. Damariscotta is one of 27. So that means they are a cut above the rest. They've shown the Maine Chiefs Association and the entire group that they are a professional agency. They're following the best standards. And these are not like a rubber stamp saying, oh, we'll just give you the accreditation, make you look good, because the program can only be sustained if everybody meets every standard. So Damariscotta acts and runs their police department exactly the same way as other departments, like the Somerset County Sheriff's Office, Kittery Police Department, Brewer Police Department. These are all accredited agencies that run their police departments the right way. There are several departments that are working towards accreditation, and we hope that they get there. Part of doing accreditation is something that comes back to the town, is now that you're accredited, your police liability insurance goes down 15% because MMA says you are doing what you're supposed to do. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to present this award to the chief for his hard work and his dedication to not only his staff, but to you as a governing board, but more importantly, the community that you all serve. Congratulations.
Standing ovation. Thank you. Thank you, Sean, very much. I appreciate it. I would have never been able to deliver all of that to you folks the way he did. But the reality is, the only reason we were able to obtain this is because of my staff, right? Because everybody was willing to do this. This is not, like Sean said, it was not an easy task. There was a lot to this. And don't disregard the fact that you all helped, right? Because there was a monetary amount of money that was spent on this as well, that the taxpayers afforded us the opportunity to spend. So thank you for your continued support. This isn't something that ends today. I can tell you that right now. This is something that has to be done every single year, every 3 years, I believe, is a reaccreditation. Nothing to be quite as extreme as this initial one, because let's face it, no matter how good I thought I was, I very quickly realized when I started looking at national standards and the standards that needed to be met, that we were far off. Not that we were doing anything wrong, but what happened 2 years ago and now, if somebody came in and requested a specific policy or some type of response to deviant behavior, it could be 45 minutes to 3 days before I found that answer the right way. Now in 5 seconds, I can click on this particular policy and know that it's the same policy that I'm sharing with most other agencies that have been accredited. And I know it's the best policy that we can have, which is hopefully going to prevent us from being sued. So no, very, very happy. And again, please understand that this doesn't stop today for me. This doesn't, it's not just going to end because we got this accreditation. We're going to keep moving forward. So thank you all very much. And thank you everybody for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Yep. Great.
Yeah. No, and yeah,
So you guys gotta get together here, your crew, come, yeah. Oh, no, absolutely not. No.
If you're saving us 15%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Anytime.
It's 15% of the meeting. So-
Let them
Oh,
get in
come on,
there.
get these guys up here
Yeah.
and say, she's hiding in the back there. You gotta get Joanne up there. Yeah.
Let's vacate.
Yeah.
Let them have their moment.
do you want to?
Yeah. Oh, I just get out of that.
Right here by the police officer. I know who second command is. Don't cry, buddy. It's horrible. No, you need to, you're shorter. Right here.
No, I'm not sure.
Right here. There you are. There you go. We know who runs the department.
Everybody
needs to dip down
and
slightly shiver than me. Stand up
You
there.
get you on a chair.
We have pictures of that. Christmas party one year?
We had him on a chair.
Yes. And Halvin's eyes are always closed.
Thank you.
You want to go have your picture taken with your dad?
Come on, Hayden, come on. Oh, wipe the tears away, get up here.
We don't cry at wrestling or at selectmen's meetings.
There's no crying in baseball.
Hold it up.
There's no crying in baseball, okay? I haven't heard it yet. Huh? I haven't heard it yet.
Get it, babe? Okay, good job.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks, dude.
Now, one more, each of us individually, we have.
Whatever. Tom has to leave in 20 minutes, so whatever Tom wants is fine. Thank you guys very much for taking the time.
Appreciate it. I don't know. I'm not in charge.
We'll talk later. Thank you. Get down there and get forward. I'll be right there. Come on. Thank you, dear. Thank you, boss man. Let's go.
Well, not sure how I get back on track after
Right?
that. How do you follow up on something like that?
That's pretty good start.
Yeah, now
We approve minutes.
we do. We approve minutes. Here comes the exciting stuff. All right. Housekeeping. Yeah, let's get back to our minutes here. So, we have two, the January 17th and February 10th, minutes there. We have a chance to look those over. Any
I can't do the 17th.
changes?
I wasn't there.
Yeah, and I wasn't there for the 10th, so we'll,
I can-
somebody wants to
I can
move.
move. I don't know if I can move both of them or we have to do it separately.
We
Separate.
can do, yeah, let's do them separately. Yep.
Okay. Let's do the 10th.
I'll move the 10th.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Josh gonna move the 10th and, Dan seconded. Any, yeah.
No,
Comments, there we go.
That was pretty straightforward.
I get all those in favor. I wasn't there and Andrew was, I'll abstain.
For 401.
Yes.
Yes, Andrew's, yep. Hi, Andrea. And, I'll move January 17th.
Second.
Tom's gonna second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, and Andrew as well. So four,
Others
and one,
abstaining.
one abstain, so. Okay, financials.
So we have.
We
had-
tape,
We tabled this the last time.
we tape, yeah, the 7th we did, Not
We
yet,
doing the
right?
7th?
The 7th was the last meeting.
Right, we're still waiting on the 7th. Yeah, so I didn't see that one in there, so. so the-
17th you tabled last time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we did the 17th. So the minutes of the 7th are table, have those next meeting. So financials, we have actually 3 payroll warrants, 36, 39, and 40.
I'll move all 3.
Josh is gonna move
Second.
all 3. Tom's gonna second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? All right, and I think Andrea, you're gonna abstain? Yeah, so that's abstain. Yep, she hasn't seen him yet. She's not close by. And we have 1 accounts payable warrant, 41.
I'll move 41.
All right, thank you, Josh. Do I hear a second?
Sure.
Dan's gonna second that one? All right. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Good to go, and Andrew's gonna abstain again, so. All right,
So if
housekeeping?
Tom's gotta leave.
Tom's
I gotta
head out.
sign them then.
We wanna
Yeah,
do all
you were
the
here.
stuff
Voted.
first.
Yeah.
Before he has to leave.
Yeah, he's gotta head out there, so.
All the voting stuff.
Yeah, we should, just trying to think, we've got, yeah,
There's 3 of them.
probably have to
The
do
2 grants and
the 2 grants
RFP.
and the RFP, so, yeah, I mean, Tom, as long as, we can move through those.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
come back to, yeah, I don't know if anybody has any questions on any of those or not, so. So the first one we have under official action items for, well, the next one we have is 5 for the Housing Opportunity Program Municipal Grant. That's the one we talked about going in, possibly talking to Newcastle and looking into that, yeah.
Yeah, so met with Kevin last week as well as our our 2 fire chiefs, just to talk about, is this something we want to try and look into? Is it a joint town effort?
Yeah.
Just a technical assistance grant. As an individual town, you can get up to $50,000 to look at feasibility study or a myriad of other things.
Yeah.
Specifically, we'd like to work with Newcastle, which gets towards one of the kind of shared goals that 2 boards have to look at more housing.
125 for the.
And you can get up
towns.
to $125,000 for
Two.
technical assistance, which we'd ask for all of that to look at feasibility studies. Our idea would be to look at a couple of different parcels, maybe in both towns, and then have a firm or company come and look in and do a feasibility and kind of get as far as we can down the line towards what would be like a site plan review application, to look at the properties, understand the suitability, the feasibility of putting stuff in here, get some rough cost estimates to build out what we're thinking might be worth building to meet some of our needs.
Yep.
And so with that, the timeline to apply is March 7th. I think Newcastle will consider, I can't remember if Kevin needed what we're doing now, but asking for this, we'll work with Lincoln County Regional Planning Commission to help put this application together. It's a relatively light lift in terms of some applications, so we should be able to meet it if the board's comfortable with us pursuing this and looking at a couple parcels.
Does this dovetail with what the county's doing in terms of their looking?
It may, their process is to identify 1 or 2 parcels in each town. They're still going through that process. I think it more or less, I don't know how far beyond identifying parcels it goes. We want to get that next layer and try and look at concepts and understand like how many is it an apartment building? Is it this type, and to understand what would need to be brought in if you're not near utilities and try and get some cost estimates so we can take that next step. Maybe if something's ripe, be able to apply for construction funds for another grant opportunity, or to appeal to the voters or, private donations to try and do something next. So hopefully the goal is that this will get us to that next step. So we're able to be ready to pounce on something that works.
Yeah.
Makes
And
sense.
and I do know this is entirely consistent with the comprehensive plan. I know it's kind of like this,
Mhm.
but housing is sort of.
And
supplemented.
our goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goals for
Mhm.
Newcastle and.
Yeah.
Damariscotta.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a pretty good win-win, so.
Yep.
Yep, yeah, I'll make a motion to authorize the town manager to submit a DECD Housing Opportunity Program Municipal Grant application for technical assistance.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Josh. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Yep, Andrea too. Yep. All right, so the MMA Safety Grant. You have some stuff earmarked for that, Andy? It looked pretty
I
pretty
do.
straightforward. I just,
Yeah, they're great. I mean, there's 2 of them. They used to do, I think it's this one twice a year, but this one once a year, and there's another one, risk reduction one that they do 6 months from now, basically. And so I was wanting to put outdoor lighting up at the Public Works
Mhm.
facility. Something I talked about in last year's budget
Right,
process.
yeah.
It's pretty dark there in the
Yeah.
at night and in the winter, but I want to get some LEDs behind the shop and behind the sand shed so that if the workers are out there doing anything back there, they can see what's going on. They don't need to bring a flashlight, headlamp or whatever, but just improve the lighting there. And so this is one of the things reducing risk from falls and
Right, yeah.
injury. But I think it's something
Preventative.
that we should get on our list and really, I mean, they try and make it easy. They want to reduce the risk to workers and reduce liability. So it's something we should keep on our radar to do every year. It's small, but it can make big impacts for us and different
Yeah.
things. So
Mhm.
No brainer.
Yep, sounds good. You want that one, Tom?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we approve the MMA safety grant application process.
All right, I'll second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Yep, and we've got Andrea, all five. Awesome. Tom, do you need to take off? Do you want to do this next,
Well,
do the RFP?
I would just say that if it's possible for me to make an indication in advance of the discussion that
Yep.
I would be
We
in
can-
favor of the cooker
Yeah.
application.
Yeah, I think, what we'll do is I'll hang on and we'll just make the motion and then you get, yeah. So, yeah, if we're ready, I mean, I think we've all had discussions on it. I'll make a motion to award Crooker Construction as a successful bidder of the waterfront improvement project pending EDA approval.
I'll second.
Oh, good.
Okay. Josh, second. Are you giving that one to Josh? No?
Yeah.
All right. Any discussion? And I'll throw something in real quick. It's just, I didn't think we'd get to this moment.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Go ahead. Oh, there you go. So, yeah.
I'll just,
Yeah.
it's
So-
in the packet, but just share for the record or anyone that might tune in later. I mean, there were 3 bids that came in. We opened them last week on the 15th. And so the engineers provided, and it's in your packet, the range of bids. There's a summary spreadsheet there showing you the units bid for each item that they asked for. So pretty straightforward at that point. What it'll allow us to do now is submit to EDA. There's a checklist in your packet showing everything we got to get together to send to EDA. They bless it. We can move forward with
Let me call
negotiating.
for the vote
Yeah.
for Tom. So, yeah. So all those in favor? All right, Andrew as well. So, yep. So we're good. All right. Sorry, Andy. Keep going.
Keep going.
I'll allow
Keep
you a
going.
discussion.
Discussion, we can get 5 minutes anyway.
So with that, once the EDA approves it, we'll be able to, in earnest, start working through and understand what a schedule might look like and get to it.
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah,
ask
we'll have
for
some-
tentative schedules in the bid doc, so I can't say what any one of them were thinking it might be, but I think it was so many days from the start is when it needs to be completed.
Yep.
I think it was like 240 or 70
Yeah.
days.
Then we'll work with the process of trying to figure out how to map that out and work
Right.
with the folks downtown, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as that timeline comes into focus, or, we understand what that might look like, we'll be able to start working with stakeholders and understanding.
Yeah.
If,
Awesome.
there was an expectation that really nothing would happen July and August. Either you do what you can and get to a point. If you wanted to put the tank in, we asked basically if the tank goes in, it needs to have a cover over it, minimum depth of asphalt. I think one company had said, can we do an alternate design for the tank, which was great. And they went through that process with the engineers to prove they could meet the specifications that were needed. So there was a good involvement, I think, from people asking questions through that process,
Yeah.
which was nice to see. But yeah, so with that, we'll be able to get going on that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was good to see some, 3 good bids back here. So, yes, Andrew, sorry. Yeah.
So Andy, how do we decide who we're going to choose?
You just did.
We just did.
Okay, I have some really serious questions about the pricing. And do these people know what they're doing?
Our engineers have
So, because
Our engineers have
No,
provided
I
a
mean,
recommendation
so
to take the
for
lowest responsible bidder, which is Crooker.
and we've
construction.
and we've had them do multiple projects in the past, and we've had good results with them.
Right. I mean, that's
But
our engineer's
like-
job is to give
Sorry.
us that recommendation, right? So our engineers reviewed all of that. They gave that recommendation, feeling confident that, it's a responsible, responsive bidder.
So if we choose Crooker, then
Yeah,
we're, like, I looked at that first line item and Hager was astronomically more. Do they know something that we don't know?
The first line item is a percentage. So it's calculated. If you're talking about the mobilization, demobilization on line 1.
Yeah,
It's calculated as a percentage of the total, so that number comes off of some of the other numbers that are calculated, but, they're, you know, all three of these companies are well-known companies. They all have a history in the business. I don't think any of us can speak to why the numbers came in where they did, but,
but like example number 5, dewatering. Why was the third company so much more than the first two? Do they know something the others don't know? That's just worries me.
It's a lump sum bid, and
Yep.
again, the engineer's review of this, I mean, you got two companies, the two lowest bids.
Yep.
Came in very consistent with each other. I mean, it's only two to
Yes.
compare, but I mean, I
Absolutely.
think, you know, we aren't,
Yeah.
I mean, the engineers aren't reading necessarily too far into any of it. I mean, they feel comfortable with recommending the low bid, which I think
Okay.
is important for us to feel, I mean, if they're good about it.
And-
And, you know, we've seen them do work in town before. I mean, we're not questioning, they aren't a new
Yeah.
company.
And it wasn't the,
Right.
Crooker did some test drilling as well.
Brooker
So-
did do a test pit in the parking lot. They're the only company that did, and I think we're the only company that were down there at the time.
Yeah, so.
But they reached out and asked if they could do that, which was an allowance. You know, they did do one pit and to understand what they might find down there 6 or 8 feet down.
Right.
And they've
So-
all had an opportunity to ask questions, to go through the bid specs and ask questions beforehand and whatnot. So all
I-
presented with the same information at the same time, and yeah.
Assuming that the engineers scrutinized this to make sure that if something was just really different, that we want to make sure that we're getting the best that we can, you know, that they know what they're doing, right? And that they can do it for this. And there's not going to be cost overrun because they ran into trouble and didn't, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a working number with unit costs. If you need more gravel, more than what it's gonna be more units.
Right. There's certain
So,
asterisks that were included in some of those unit items. I mean, it's part of the bid docs. I mean, there's a little bit of unknown, and the ones that we know are unknown were identified ahead of time. And so that's, you know, where the unit pricing comes in. Every project's bound to hit some number, minimum number, or at least one change order, most likely. I mean, a project of this scale anyways. And so it's, you know, most of it's lump sum, but it's when it goes beyond what was designed or anticipated, that's where you have to get into that. Okay, what's
Yeah.
happened? Where's it beyond? I will say that, you know, for the two lower bids, they both were within and below. One was below, one was close to what the engineers estimated for cost. So,
Right.
to know that they came in pretty close or just above and just below, you know, is
Makes
spot
us
on.
feel secure that this is going there. I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying that at all. I just, when I saw like number 2, it's like, okay, that was an interesting difference between them. Fine. But number 5 really got me a little bit worried
Mhm.
that, you know, so I don't know anything about this. I'm really not an engineer. I'm just looking at these numbers. So.
And so that's one there. I mean, the dewatering as it was defined, I mean, is a lump sum.
Yes.
So there's other ones that are based on unit pricing, so you know, pipe diameter, right? Different pipe
That's pretty
diameters. For example.
standard.
If you need
Right.
to add more than, if they called for 60 feet of pipe and all of a sudden you need 80, there's, right, a fair, an allowance, a known allowance to
Unit
go above,
pricing.
and there's the price will be charged. So, you know,
Yeah,
the
unit pricing
sum is what
didn't
it
bother
is.
me. Yeah, unit pricing didn't bother me. It was just a couple of those that were like, wow, okay, that's quite a difference. And it makes, it's just an alert. That's all.
Sure.
For me.
Paying attention, you know, all that.
Yeah.
So, when's, and I'm trying to remember, we've worked with, we worked with all three contractors, have
we
we?
haven't worked with McGee.
Not with McGee. I know of them, but I know we've worked with Crooker in the past and stuff, and, so, yeah.
And as far as I know, they have a good reputation, so.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. All
Thank you.
right.
I guess the only question I have is when we're getting closer and, you know, we've talked about construction management on the town's interest side
Mhm.
to look out for the best interest of the town. And I know there's funds available to hire an entity to overlook and oversee for our interests. And when do we start looking to line that up?
Well, that might be worth me just knowing that the board does want to do that as a whole. I think, talking with George about it, I don't remember if it was a Public Works Committee or if it was just something George and I had talked about, but to what extent, right? Where do we draw that line around what someone else be coming and doing? And the job isn't to question the design, right? The job is to basically clerk of the works,
Yes.
would be my understanding. In bringing that cost in, is that something we need to have, or not? It's making sure the board's on board with that. There was an amount for construction administration in the, what we sent forward for estimated costs for this phase, so should be able to take it out of that.
Mhm.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a big enough project where,
This is one of the
you
larger
know,
ones we've had, right?
Yeah, we need
and-
it.
and
For the town. So.
looking at,
Yeah.
Our public works director here, put a different hat on, there's gonna be a lot, we're we're not gonna put that all on you. We're gonna need somebody to kind of.
Well,
be interim, but-
I'm thinking the last phase, it was the expectation of the engineers to do it. I don't think
Yes.
we didn't hire anyone else. No one else on staff was expected, to my knowledge, to do it. Maybe they
Yeah,
were.
but we've run into a few things that
Right.
prior to your arrival, I think, that,
Yeah, I think the idea is just having somebody that's working directly with the town just to make sure that if we've run into a situation where there's a question between, if there becomes a question between the engineer and the contractor or something like that, like where does the town fall into that?
Mhm.
And we've had some things in the past that been in a spot where we felt like the town was like, okay, we're in between something, but who are we represented by, and we just want to make sure that it's in our best interest, we're covered and have somebody
and
say clerk of
especially,
the
and
works.
especially when there's something in writing that
Right.
kind of backs up some of our points and somehow things.
But
just
yeah,
need somebody
follow up on that.
To be our voice
Right.
and
Right.
document. So,
Another set of eyes. Yeah. Well, it's a big
Good to help.
project. There's gonna be a lot of eyes on it.
Yep.
So, make sure we've done our due diligence. So,
and how much did we have available, Andy, do you think was set aside for that?
Best I can see, we've got everything we need for our match, and I don't want to say without certainty, but I felt comfortable with what our local funds have, that there'd be a contingency going into the project to allow for beyond. I mean, there's a contingency built into what the engineers had estimated, I think 10 or 15% or something like that. So I feel comfortable with what our local funds are, but I don't want to say without having.
Right, well, and also
actually have
not included in this bid is the temporary flood wall structure.
Right.
So
Yep.
we still need to figure that out
Right.
moving forward.
Yep. Yeah, and that number came in at a point where it still allows us to do that. We wanted to source that directly to try and eliminate any additional inflation on someone else sourcing
Yeah.
it. So that'll be a separate bid process for us to reach out and find companies that might be able to provide that to us. There's a range of designs and.
yeah. Well, now having a little bit of evidence there, like, oh, that's what we have to deal
Right,
with that
right.
being
We
tied.
had evidence.
Yes, we had. So we have a little bit more information to give them.
Right.
So,
All right.
to help me just sort of clarify, so our timing is good to make sure that the grant doesn't expire
Yes.
by the period.
So they have you when they award it, you're working in kind of 2-year
Yeah.
blocks of time. And then, so we've asked for one extension. So we're into that 4th year now.
Right.
We'll have to ask for a 5th, a 3rd extension, which is an additional year. And so when they come out, it's like they expect it can be completed in 60 months from time of award. And that's what we'll have to understand what the timeline is for Crooker if approved, and make sure they can work within that. Whether there's an opportunity to extend beyond the 60 months as well, to work with EDA to work with that.
No, but in terms of the wall, that's part of the same award.
Right. Yep.
So,
Yeah, that should be a little more straightforward. With them, I mean, you're just sourcing the wall. I mean, we're going to get into understanding the different setup requirements. Like some of them, depending on what's required for hardware. I mean, there's a useful life on how many times you can run the hardware into the ground. And so it just we'll to understand the different vendors out there and the different walls and what works best for us.
in that perspectively, it's not this year, but next year.
It'll be dictated by the construction schedule. You're not going to be able to set anything up. I mean, some of them require anchoring and grounding, so
Sure.
you're not going to run those into the asphalt we have today. And so it'll really be dictated by
Okay.
when it's available for deployment will be dictated really by the construction schedule for this next phase, in my mind.
Mhm.
You know, like, for example, if they can't finish all the work till the spring, we're not gonna have it available most likely for next winter.
But we're still okay within the contract.
Right.
One more extension and then that's it.
If we had.
Close, but we're in there.
I know.
We'll definitely
Yeah.
need that extension to get to the full 5th year.
Yes, yeah.
And so,
Good news, we have,
We go
things are
beyond.
moving too, so you're more apt to have an extension if you're showing like, you know, we have stuff that's moving along.
Yeah, no, if this is well
Yeah.
along, I
So
definitely.
it was.
Right,
it was
yeah.
2 years ago in March, we were supposed to put it out to bid,
Right.
right?
We did, didn't we? No, we didn't.
right. So, I mean, the good news for us, I mean, if we need to go beyond the 60 months, I mean, so a lot of the delay has been at the federal level.
Yeah.
I mean, with the
Right.
FEMA review, getting the change of scope because of the FEMA review with EDA, the time for that to happen. So, I mean, you know, they've had to do it before for other projects. And so we'll deal with that if we need to.
Getting there. Good to see it moving along though. So. All
And it
right, what have
seems
we?
like
Oh,
EDA the EDA would be amenable to it because it wasn't exactly our fault.
That's the expectation. Yes.
I like to change things sometimes as we go along, keep you guessing, so. All right, let's move along. What did we miss here? Bounce around a little bit. Andy, did you have a report or are you gonna?
I added a few bullets there and that kind of expanded agenda I gave you today. Just some
Oh, yeah, it's right there.
high
Yep.
points. I mean, a lot of work really to just wrap the budget up for presentation over the last couple of weeks. Did get the capital out yesterday, I believe, for review.
Was that just the fire
I
department?
just
though?
got fire department.
That's all I
Really?
got too.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
other ones
I
didn't
didn't-
come through.
Good to know.
I meant to get a hold of
All
you
right.
today.
You gave me a hard copy of it all, I
I did.
think. I'll double check.
That should have been everything.
I didn't know if that
Um,
was it, just the fire
Nope,
department.
should have been everything.
Then I was gonna have all kinds of questions about ladders tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
You will have. Hope- John will be here tomorrow
Right,
and.
Well, yep,
wanting to
he'll have
cover it,
answers
so
for you.
Ladder trucks, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I guess others hadn't ready yet.
Do we have another meeting tomorrow?
Yes. 4:30,
It's
budget
the-
workshop.
This is the budget workshop, Andrew. We had
Oh.
talked about last week. Yeah, we know. You're out of the state, so.
Well, I mean, can come in via Zoom.
Yeah.
Not a problem if everyone's going to be there. Should I be there?
If you're available and interested, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
It'll be
it's-
exciting. Yeah.
No,
No.
it's never.
But,
I'll make sure
Yeah,
the Zoom link,
it's-
I'll make sure the Zoom link's in there. I took it out of the last one.
Okay.
But if we know, Andrea, if we know you're gonna do that, I'll put that in there.
and it's at 4:30, right?
4:30.
4:30. Yeah.
4:30 your time?
4:30 our time. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll be working, hearing from fire chief, police chief, and our planner. And then whatever else is left that I'll cover. And if there's time, we can get into capital, but if no one got the capital, we might need to put that one
Yeah.
off. one more.
We'll get through what we can. Yeah. Sounds good.
Anticipate extending an offer for the foreman's position this week. Had 2 interviews. 2 other applicants had approached with an application, but didn't have a complete application, so didn't follow up, didn't entertain those ones. But felt good with the 2 that were interviewed and hope to get that closed out and hopefully someone in the
Nice.
position mid-March or sooner.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's good. That's some good news. Yeah.
Not gonna get any more snowstorms after that.
well, we may not.
Maybe not.
Live with that.
Yeah,
If we don't, we can get going on the spring work even sooner.
there you go.
It looks like you're just gonna have rain this week.
Well,
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Mild.
continuing to work with, we're working with another attorney on the review of the TIF amendments, mostly for the projections and just working through that. And so, got the first draft back from her. Michael and I will work with her to look at that. Should be able
Okay.
to get things back for you to look at that for the next meeting. Our understanding is we can ask for an extension, for our application. So as long as we have it submitted to the state by the end of the month of March, they're able to consider the FY23 tax year, which would be advantageous, for the program. So, with
Yeah,
that's on schedule. We'll have to do a public hearing, before that gets approved. We'll do a special town meeting after that, and get that moving forward as long as there's no concerns or changes that'll be needed. If there are, we'll push it off and reset the tax year that it'll be used. Any questions on that process?
Oh, let's, to get that rolling along, so.
Did call about the floats today, just to see where those were in the works, and so they were working on them now. There's 3 complete. By the end of March, it sounds like we'll be able to bring them into town, and we won't. My concern was we'll have to set the old ones out, and then sometime this summer take a
Right.
certain number out of
Yep.
service and replace them. But it sounds like we'll be able to put all the new ones in that we'll get 10 full-size floats in the corner piece.
Nice.
So
So are we transporting those or
Yep.
do we want to hire somebody?
we'll transport them. Yep. They'll help load on that end, and we can unload on this end.
Great, great.
We might just might make sense to bring them right down to the parking lot and put them on the park area down there. Well, it's not in full swing yet. As long as they're out of way for snow operations.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, I don't want to put those in the way.
yeah. Awesome. Well, there's some stuff moving along. Excited to see that RFP get moved along, so. Anything else, Andy?
Those were the high points.
Yep. Any low points? Or you just do the high points?
There are a lot of little things that go on behind the scenes, but that
No.
just didn't, specifically call out.
Absolutely. No, awesome. Well, if there's no more official stuff, we'll poke around. We can, Andrea, since you're on the Zoom screen, do you have anything you want to add tonight? Yeah.
No,
Anything
I'm good.
going?
I just want to ask Andy, where are we for the Church Street bid? Are we moving along with that project?
We're still waiting for funding. We're waiting to hear back from the DOT, US DOT, as whether or not our grant application we submitted this fall would be accepted or not. But there's no bid out yet. We're still trying to find funds.
Okay,
Find some money.
so, yeah, so
the
we're still looking for money.
Correct.
And do we have any idea how long that's gonna take?
I do not.
Okay, it's
So
okay. Okay, I'm just,
Yeah.
trying to,
I did reach out to one of Senator King's staff members who we see at some of our Midcoast managers meetings, and just to try and understand if is there a way that we can get into a different CDS category, the congressional direct spending. Last year when we applied, we kind of fell to the economic development category, which is a very competitive one. It's a kind of a catch-all for a lot of projects, and trying to figure out is there a way where it's not a state road, and because we didn't include the culvert because that was a separate grant, kind of project that we're already going after. The water's already a separate project. So when you strip it down, it's a sidewalk project. So in whether or not there's enough effort going into the new drainage that would be incorporated in that, whether it can fall into, so we're trying to just figure out, is there strategically a better way we can advocate for the project so it doesn't fall there again if it becomes available. The challenge will be getting it figured out now, because if it does open up for applications, it's usually last year was like a 3-week or 4-week turnaround. So just trying to get some of that out there now. Last year's projects that were submitted, I think, are still waiting for award, because they keep going through supplemental budgets at the federal government, and so they haven't actually awarded any of them yet from last year. So it's a
Wow.
whole separate. So there's the funding, and if you're get down to that final phase of final selection, it's like you're still kind of waiting for the funder to get it. So our only other option would be to fund locally the additional funds, which based on the engineers' reports, I think were about $1 million is what's still needed. We've got the residual bond money, some private donations that have come in. Until bids come, we don't know actual final costs, but based on what we're estimating, it's about $1 million, and that includes Church Street and Hodgson Street. The rest
Okay.
of it.
Out there somewhere, hopefully, but
Right.
Slow moving wheels.
Yep.
Awesome. Dan?
I was just wondering, is the town chartering a bus to Portland for the game this week? For the basketball game?
Oh.
For Lincoln.
My vehicle's full.
What's that?
My vehicle is full.
There's a lot of folks going to that, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of chatter around town, and it's kind of fun. It's good for the
Yeah.
community that the team's got that far. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is like back in 80,
89.
89. Boy, that was a big one. You remember that one?
Yeah,
I think you were there.
I was there.
Oh, yeah, it's exciting. Oh, Josh, what do you got to add?
Nothing. I'm good. We
something.
got budget tomorrow.
Yep, budget tomorrow.
So
Well,
Andy,
Yep.
Andy, just as an aside, what you sent us, the FY 25 operating budget, that's what we're gonna be looking at tomorrow?
Yes,
already-
I apparently failed to attach the correct capital budget packet, so it's just it would be the operating budget plus I expect the police and the fire. John's, I did send John's. So the fire department, John will want to talk about his. He's got 3 reserves: the truck, the building, and the equipment reserve. That he'll want to talk about while he's here.
Okay,
Otherwise, it'll be operating budget. It'll be planning, fire, police, highway.
That's it.
I
right?
think those are the only
So the last ones we
last
had.
ones for initial
That's
presentation.
pricey. Yeah,
Those are just initial presentations, just with the budget committee and the select board coming together just to hear, and then the select
Hear
board
the
will go through.
presentation. Yeah.
review,
Yeah.
And then make a recommendation to the budget committee and they'll review that.
And we're doing that the first meeting in March, or are we doing a meeting before?
I'll have a tentative schedule for you tomorrow to consider. I think I was proposing meeting in the off week, should be next week.
Do you go, are you leaving? Don't you have to go to training?
I'm gonna be gone next week, the 28th, through the Sunday. So Wednesday to Sunday, I'm gone next week. Yeah. So what were you proposing?
I was anticipating the potential for one more review if needed next week.
Okay.
And that would potentially need to be for the capital for both the budget committee and the select board.
Yeah. Okay.
If
Make it work.
if
Yeah,
you
no,
want
you
for the
guys can do it.
capital's sake, if you wanted to just try and stand, what I'm trying to make sure happens this year is we kind of ran parallel with the budget committee last year.
Right.
And so making sure that the charter says the select board needs to recommend to the budget
Mhm.
committee. So trying to make sure there's enough time for that.
Yeah,
You know, we can
okay.
kind of overlap a little bit with those schedules. I mean, once the select board, once you go through and make a recommendation, say on the first half of, the operating budget, then they could start right away with at least what you've recommended. So we can kind of piggyback that a little bit.
I don't foresee it taking too long.
Yeah, we can make whatever works. We can move around. And Andrew, you're back next week? When are you coming back?
I'm back the 26th.
26, okay.
And Dale, you're back.
I'm leaving the morning of the 28th. So Wednesday, the 28th, I won't be back until Sunday,
Okay.
March 3rd.
I mean, if
But we can,
if the board wants and are able, I mean, if you want to, I think last year, I think there were a couple times you met at 4:30 to get through some of the budget stuff and then went to, I don't know if you want to try and
On a
do that on the
regular,
6th.
yeah, I think we can do that.
Mm.
'Cause, I mean, the presentations are pretty much done, and if you had questions.
yeah.
And if you have more questions, you can always
Mhm.
give Andy a shout and
Yeah.
ask, and
Right.
But we met before a regular meeting. We met an hour earlier to go through some budget stuff. So
I don't foresee it's gonna really
Yeah.
take too long.
You haven't seen the capital yet.
Yeah,
Well, I already know how I'm gonna vote, so.
preconceived notion there, and they, yeah.
I can't vote on the fire department.
So we'll, for the
So do
board,
we want to say we're going to meet at 4:30 on the 6th?
Probably.
Yeah.
sound right?
Would that be to review the capital budget essentially?
It sounds like that would be to review the capital because I didn't manage to get you the right one. for
Well, I
tomorrow.
mean, we may get through some of it tomorrow.
We can, if folks are comfortable with that. I know
I'm
some
good.
might want
I
to
just
see
Yeah,
it.
if you send it out now, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't have no
I'm
problem.
comfortable
I would say, yeah, we can plan on getting through what we can tomorrow, and then so that going into the 6th, that would be our first
First.
vote, our
Yeah.
moving items at that point. Yeah,
Great.
so let's get through. Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
we
make it
can do it.
happen. You're buying dinner tomorrow night, right?
We can bring some stuff in.
Oh, great. Yeah, let's we'll make it happen. You guys, I'd say thank you to the town staff. You guys put together a relatively easy to read budget, so we'll make it worth your while here. So I don't have anything to add. I'll throw it go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
just scheduling. I have this on the 28th, the review board training workshop with Newcastle. Does that sound right?
With Michael, yes, yeah.
But yeah, so I'd asked Michael, I mean, this MMA does planning board, Board of Appeals trainings. And I had offered, I asked Michael, I said, being the planner for both, I mean, can we try and coordinate something locally? It's sometimes easier if you got enough people to bring someone here, as opposed to send 5 people to Augusta. or maybe 10 people to Augusta if you got both boards. And so we're bringing someone here, bringing a lawyer in, not either one of our town attorneys, but someone who does these presentations, and opened it up to planning board, appeals board for our side of the bridge, historic preservation commission, any of the bodies that would basically making final determinations on kind of these land use
On the
issues.
ordinance land use.
To understand the process is all roughly the same legally. So just making sure folks are aware of that. And so partnering with, again, Newcastle, to try and cut the cost down a little bit for us, and another chance to kind of come together. So it's open to any of the select board members if they'd like to attend, just to be aware of,
Okay.
what those, that legal process is. But more of a hands-on, more of a technical for those. I think in some way, we have the appeals. I'm trying to think if there's a case where it would come to you for, I guess for the appeals process, potentially for like Board of Assessment, might be a little bit familiar. But yeah.
A lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of comp plan meetings going on. There's the, another one Tuesday. I don't know what chapter.
We had a comp plan meeting last night, yesterday.
Yeah, the one on Tuesday is about the economy and housing and population. So it's
And yesterday was water, marine water, all of that. It was good. It was really good.
Nice.
My understanding of the process is you're kind of working through these subcommittee meetings that have been doing weekly for the last couple of weeks now. Trying to identify kind of strategies for the comp plan to consider. And then just talking to Michael about it before our meeting, but kind of coming back once all of that's done, kind of synthesizing all of that, bringing it back to the full committee. I'm trying to get that first draft of a document out for the public review.
right.
Awesome.
Last night we did goals, and from the goals, then we're going to be able to we still have another meeting, I don't know, next week probably, to actually take the goals and policies and turn them and add the strategies. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work.
Sounds like it's moving along. You've got a good group taking care of it.
It is. We have a great group. There's so many people that are stepping up, and yeah, it's good.
Nice. All right. Well, the only thing I'll add tonight, they're all gone now, but I just congratulate the police department and our Chief Warlick and his staff. That's a big thing with the accreditation. We've all, learned a little bit about the board and how few departments in Maine are actually accredited. And that's a nice little pat on the back for them. So that's it. That's all I have. Oh,
15%?
50% of the meeting. Yeah. That's you stuck on that number, but hey, that's a huge thing. Yeah, it is. But and beyond that, with reputation and whatnot, it's pretty cool. So well, good. So nothing else there? Anything in? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Oh, you got it.
Those are what you wanted, Dan.
No.
All those in favor?
Gonna discuss adjourn.
Adjourned. Yep, and Andrew as well. So all right, that's 4 of us, and Tom was absent. So great.
Okay, and I'll see you guys tomorrow
All right.
Sounds good, Andrea. Thank you.
via Zoom.
Via Zoom.
Okay.
Awesome. All
Okay.
right, everybody is signed.